Hi, my name is Wyatt. I'm here to take you on a bit of a whirlwind tour of a bunch of tools that you can use for unit testing your declarative infrastructure as code configuration. I'm going to do 4 tools in 5 minutes, so it's going to be super broad and pretty fast. I got a couple of memes. It's for intros, and then we'll dive into some examples. So there are tools out there like Terraform Test, Terra Test, which can manage the lifecycle of provisioning your test infrastructure, validating some things about it, and then tearing that down. Those tools are fantastic, but they're not necessarily what you want when you're trying to iterate locally and move quickly and get feedback really fast. And so just to get a little bit meta for a moment, I've been using one of the tools that I've been talking, or that I'm going to share called Helm Unit Test. When I was considering even submitting a talk about this, I was like, well, everybody knows about that. That's super obvious. But then I realized Helm Unit Test has 3% of the stars on GitHub that Helm itself does. So I was like, well, OK, maybe some knowledge sharing would be great, and we can all improve together. So let's get started. So the first example, as I said, is Helm Unit Test. If you can't guess from the name, Helm Unit Test works with Helm. It allows you to test that the values that you are passing into your Helm charts, or it works on a template basis, output the manifest structure the way that you expect. So without a test framework like this, I might be tempted to do like a Helm template locally and pass in a value, and maybe I'll do this 5 or 6 times and validate that the input gives me the output that I want. However, there's a better way. And because it's DevOps, we'll write some more YAML. And we can write these tests. There's a pretty mature set of operators you can use. I have a few examples here to validate the structure, how these things work, as well as this kind of YAML path expression that you might be familiar with if you've ever used JQ or YQ or whatever, to make it less brittle when you're iterating over lists. So next up, an option if you're using Terraform. Terraform actually introduced testing as an experimental package back in 2021, or experimental command. And then actually in October of last year, so it's pretty new, they re-released it as GA. And it can do unit testing. It's built into the language now. So previously, I might make a change, do a Terraform plan, and see if it does the thing that I want. Now it's built into the language. So I can write a test, create a new file with the .tftest.hcl extension. I have some input variables, and you can also test providers this way as well. And then a run block with a command. The command needs to be planned, otherwise you're writing an integration test, so watch out for that. And then the condition is the actual kind of meat of the test. You're testing that input gave you this output about some attribute. So finally, the last one is I have 2 tools for those of you who might be using AWS CloudFormation. This one is the one that I have the least experience in personally, but when I think about my time using CloudFormation, I might do like a change control, or create change set, describe change set, and kind of see did the change that I made give me the output that I want. There's a couple of options here. So AWS released a tool called CloudFormation Guard, which is a policy engine. But on top of that policy engine, you can also write an alternate set of rules. And there's an example rule here. And then you map, using a test file, you map inputs to templates to these rules, and then you say, should this rule pass, or should this rule fail in this scenario? And in that way, you've kind of built this bit of testing logic. If that's not your thing, there's also another tool that was written actually about 6 months before Guard was released, called Cloud Radar. Cloud Radar is written in Python, and it works similarly in that you set some parameters, you render the templates, and then you do some assertions. Because it's Python, you can use PyTest, you can use all of the operators that Python has available to you, and it's pretty slick. Whirlwind tour, check. I have some links to the tools that I'm referencing here, or I've referenced in the slide deck. If nothing else, I hope that I inspired you to take one of these tools or find some other tool that works in your environment and help you reduce your feedback. Happy testing.